Hello everyone, welcome to Noble Creative Tutorials, and today I will show you how to create a spooky countdown logo reveal in Adobe After Effects without using any third-party plugins. So create your composition and let's get started. So after you create your composition, and as you see here in my comp, I have a few comps here. So I have audio here. So it's very important to work with the audio in this tutorial. So first here you can see I have markers already in this audio I'm going to work with. I have the one on seconds here named 10, 9 and so on, and other markers named texture groups. So on the seconds we are going to have some textures on them, and other beats I choose in this audio where we are going to use texture on them. So it's just to make it easier for us in After Effects to just focus on where we want these textures to appear and so on. So make sure to marker your audio first that you want to work with, and then bring that to After Effects. And right here I have a background color, just create a ramp and a noise here. Just choose the color you want to work with in this tutorial. And right here I have this text here. So basically just a number which we are going to create the countdown, and just choose a nice font that match this theme. So here I want to create some animation to this, and we already have here evaporate preset that we can use. You can find it here as well. It's already with After Effects, so you can just drag and drop these, and just make sure your time indicator is at 0. So just place that right here, and you can see keyframes here. And basically we just want to reverse these animation here. So start at 0 and around 21 or so, we're just going to put -15 just so these to appear, and just delete the last keyframe here. So we're just going to have something like this, and basically we can do a few adjustments to these. I don't want these to start too much scale on it, and maybe more a blur on these. So we're going to have something like that, very straightforward as you can see, and it just wants 1 second on here, and maybe just 2 frames added to these, so just overlap with other counting. Let's just trim these comp here, and then reveal this comp and pre-compose this one here, and then just rename these Grunge text 001. And so I'm going to create a new comp here and rename these texture matte. I want to create a map for these so I can create a grungy texture or grungy text. So right here I have these textures. You can download any textures to work with. So I have these 2 right here. Just drag them to the texture matte here. So for the first one here, as you can see, we have a really high res texture here. So the first thing I want to do here is just animate position. So every frame having randomly animating these. You can also add rotation to animate with these as well. So for example here, -90 here, just so we can add some really nice texture effects here. And basically all of these keyframes, they are going to be toggle hold keyframes, so there's no animation in between them right there. So then I'm going to add a loop out for both of these here. So now they are looping out animation there. Just every frame there is different texture look, as you can see. And I'm going to add a new solid, and this one is going to be 50% gray, and I want that to be just below all of these, and I want these to be a lighten on blending mode. So right there I have something like this, as you can see here. And then I want to add opacity animation, the same thing here. I want to start 0-second frame 100, and then just randomly create opacity animation to this. And the same thing, we are going to toggle hold keyframes here. So we are having a random animation, and we are going to use a loop out expression as well, so we can have a whole animation for the whole duration of this comp. And so I'm just going to copy the opacity here, and for this one here, I'm just going to paste it, maybe just move these keyframes here so we just have different values. So for example, this one is 0, I want these to be 100 here, so I want these 100, this is 0, and sometimes they can both be so they are overlapping overlapping there, just so we can create some textures just like these, as you can see here. And for the first one, we can just add more or less opacity for it, so we just have something like these, as you can see. Very straightforward. And so then I'm going to add a new adjustment layer, and this is going to be displays, and I'm going to add turbulent displays here, just so we can add some turbulent to these using times probably 20 here, and then just add some turbulent to these, just so we are blending these together. And let's reveal this comp and then add it on Grunge text here. And then we're going to track matte these, and let's turn on the text one as well. And I'm going to choose here stencil loom. As you can see here, we're getting some of these grungy on the text, but it's a little bit gray there, so I'm just going to apply invert and just going to make it looks much better, as you can see here. And basically here I can move these texture here where I want things to appear, probably scale it down a little bit there. And if there is any adjustments, I can just open that, and so probably here I can just add other texture, and it's just going to show up here as well on this frame. They're just going to kind of look like that. So probably right here I want that to be right there, so just open here this one and probably change position for that frame, and you can see it right here. So this is how just going to create these grungy text. And so now we're just going to reveal these and just duplicate that until 10 and duplicate in the text as well. So now we need to have all these text to use and just replace with the grungy looks there. And then make sure you update the text for each comp here. And then now we're just going to replace the comps here. So each comp needs to have its own number, so just update that for each comp, just replacing the comps. So now we have all the comps updated here, so we just need to add all these together. And then I'm going to create a new comp here, and let's rename these countdown and make sure duration is 16 seconds there. And I'm just going to drag and drop all these Grunge text here, and let's solve the last one here. Hit S to reveal scale. I want to scale that from 500 around 40 frames. Set that to 100, and just going to leave 2 frames at the end and just zero out that, and just ease these keyframes. And let's have a noise easing to this, and we are going to have something like this. Okay, so now we're going to copy these keyframes, make sure they are 0, and just paste all these keyframes here, so all of these comps having the same animation. So now we're going to keyframe assistant, sequence layer, and make sure overlapping is 2 frames. And so now we're going to have all of these right there. So we want these to start after 1 second. So let's preview and see how these looks like. So as you can see, this looks pretty cool. And so now we're going to add at the end the logo as well. So what I'm going to do here, just duplicate this last Grunge text right here, and let's rename that to logo, and let's open these. And we just want to replace these with a logo placeholder. I already have it here. Just hold Alt, and you're just going to replace that. Make sure size these right inside the comp. And so what I want to do here is just add CC burn fill, and just want to animate the burn here from 0 and around 15 seconds. We want to zero out that, ease these keyframes. And let's just make sure duration is around 6 seconds, so it's longer for this comp here. And for this one, just going to add time remap and just loop out for these and just extend these as well, just so we can have the whole duration right there. So that's how it's going to look as well. So that's looking pretty nice. So just going to probably just duplicate the last one here and then just overlap these right here, and just going to replace these with the logo here. So that's how it's going to look like here as well. So we don't want that to be at 0, of course, maybe 80, and we just want to make sure it is longer here. Just subtle animation going on. So let's just preview this part here. So as you can see, the animation look pretty cool. So what I'm going to do now, just add some nice color to countdown here. Just going to use a gradient ramp here and then just choose a nice yellowish color here. This one a little bit darker and this one is brighter here. And then just adjust here the end and start these ones here. So just copy the gradient ramp and then just paste that on the rest. And then let's reveal these in our comp or projects here, and let's just add it to the main comp here. So now we want to add some displacement map here, and basically we need a map. So I already have one here, which is very straightforward to create using fractal noise here. Just animated evolution using time expression. It's very straightforward, as you can see, just using basic and soft linear here. So let's add these and use it with displacement map, and we want to animate out these at the end as well. So just add a keyframe on vertical and horizontal here, and we want to zero out that, so we don't want to distort the logo at the end here. Let's easy ease these keyframes and probably make sure just around there. And then I'm going to add glow as well. And so here let's have maybe 300, and also going to animate intensity on the end so it doesn't look too bright on the logo. So probably 0.3, and this is going to be fixed with 16 bits per channel. Just going to smooth these out. So for now we don't worry about that, so later we can export it with 16 bits per channel. So now let's just rename these fill and Control D, and this is going to be the outlines, and just remove for this one the glow, and then just add fine edges here and then just invert that. So the second one, we have these edges here, and we want to use lighten our screen on these. And basically we need to just move this one probably a frame or two, so they are not really overlapping, so it just give us a really nice touch right there, as you can see here. And then I'm going to add a texture to the background to make it more interesting. So right here I have a background already made, very straightforward, the same concept here, using a texture, animating here, nothing complicated here. And for this one I just want to make sure it got transparency, so I just use extract there to just cut out the blacks there. So using just loop out with random opacity animation, I just going to drop these on top of the background here, choose a nice blending mode, depends on how you want these to look, and probably if you want to lower opacity. And what I'm going to do here, just add posterize time, probably 12 there, just so I can get more not flashy background of this grungy animation here. So right there, just add some really nice texture to the whole thing. So now we need to add the main textures, which is going to be scary to make things look spooky here. So right here I have the main textures that I'm going to use here and add. So these previews you can find online to use here. I have these main textures that I'm going to use in the main seconds. You can see here I already organized things here as I want them to appear. So for example, these two textures going on 10, this for 9, this for 8, and so on. So organizing things will make it much easier for you in After Effects to work with textures. So for example, is here I already having the overlays organized as well that I'm going to use in orders. And for secondary textures, it's the same, just name them after groups. So right here I have to belong to the same group, 1, 2, 3, and so on. 11, I have 3 textures to use. And basically here, it's up to your audio. So if you go back here to the mid audio here, I already put markers where I want things to appear. So I already organize it. So you can see here I have the beats here, want textures to go here, and the main texture for a second going to go here, and in between I'm just going to add these textures. So it's up to you how you want to put these things. So I recommend to use audio software like Audition or something that make it easier for you to put markers and organize it before you start texturing things. So let's, for example, here I'm just going to create a new comp here, and this is going to be Grunge overlay. And so for this one, let's just copy here this audio here and paste it here. And so now I already have these textures here, so I'm just going to go directly to the main textures to start with. So for example, here on 10, I'm going to look for these 2 which I want to use here, and then just drag them here, and just let's give them just probably here a few frames. We don't want too much right there. So let's solo this one here, the first one. And so right here, you can see this one is color. So I just want to use black and white for this one, and also use motion tile here. Just scale this up. And I want to add animation on these just few frames, probably just to add a nice touch animation here. So to have a reference, what I'm going to do here, just go back here and just drag the main comp here. So I have the reference. So now I want to use the blending mode for this. So I'm going for probably add or soft light for this one. So probably soft light here. And you can see now it's easy ease these keyframes, and probably extending these a little bit here, and then having that animation, and then just that few frames. And for this one, we want it to appear as well. So going for soft light here, and just place where these I want it to be. So probably half of these going to appear, and a little bit extending that right there. I still have texture group that I want to use. So this is just the 10. So I'm going for these 9. So the same idea I'm going to do here. So looking for these 2, drag them right here, just few frames here. So let's solo the first one and see what is there. So I have this texture here to use. So scale it down and going for lighten. And for this one is the same, just going to put that to lighten and scale these up a little bit here. Also I want to use black and white for these here, and also add curves. So it depends on textures you are using. So basically this is the techniques you are going to use: black and white, using curves, motion tile, and also some like kind of subtle animation to make things look pretty cool. So probably here just more frames for this one. It's going to look like that. Just want these texture to appear probably a little bit before right here, just few frames and right there. So the same idea here, I'm going for 8, and then just look for the ones I'm going to use for 8. So as you can see here, the same idea here. This one is going to be add, scale these up, maybe use invert for this one. That's look pretty cool. Sometimes you can use some textures to find edges. Just depends on textures you are going to use. And we still have here the text group, which I have here the secondary one. So for example here 5, I already have 5 that I want to use here. So I'm just going to drag and drop that one into timeline here, and I'm just going to use that 5 there. So probably this one going to be multiply or add, probably burn or something here. So let's go for color dodge, which is going to give us a really nice look here. So just up to you how you want, and depends on your textures. So this is the whole concept and how we are going to keep going with this. I'm not going to finish this, but I already have it here, and I'll show you how it's just going to look like. So right here, this one at the end, you're just going to have something like these distributed here. And for example, this one here, you can add some nice animation using radial blur as well. Just depend on your creativity and how you want to make things look. So after you finish that, make sure the main copies not belong to these one because it's just reference, because we are going to add this one on the main comp here. So after that, let's just add both of these. First one is just some textures as well, just distribute it there, just some scratches and some random textures. And so now what I'm going to do here, just blending these right here. So let's say for the first one here, I'm just going to use screen because inside this one, I keep them all at normal. And so right here, just going to use that as screen and probably just 60 on opacity. So for this one, I'm just going to use collapse transformation, and then it's just going to use the blending modes I already used inside this comp here. So now you can just see things are getting pretty cool on top of each other. So that's look pretty nice. Depends on your textures and how you're going to use them. So you can add another footage of texture here. I already have one as well using these scratches and so on, just so you can add on top of that. So adding these on top here and probably just going for a linear dodge and black and white and probably different blending modes. So depend on the footage you are going to use here. So let's just preview this one here and see how it looks like. So as you can see, things look pretty cool here. And maybe for this overlay, I'm just going for 50% on opacity here. Let's just solve this so you can see what's going on here. And instead of using probably black and white, I can use photo filter here and then just recolor these using a custom color here, probably a dark green right here, and crank up density here. Just going to desaturate the look here, and you can see here, let's go to a nice frame here, probably right here or something, and let's just see how it looks at the other ones here. So if we turn off photo filter, you can see it's kind of, if you're going for kind of this look also look pretty cool. And you can see here with black and white and photo filter, just blending things nicely here. You can see it's desaturated when disabling black and white as well. So you can play with black and white as well to make it look really nice. And you can also apply photo filter with other textures, different colors, just to get really nice blendings together with overall colors you are going to use. So now I'm going to add a new adjustment layer, and it's going to be chromatic aberration, and then add optics compensation, and then add in 3D glasses here. So already I want that to be assigned to the same adjustment layer, and I want to go for balance color red and blue, and I want to link here the field of view with these balance and multiply that by 2, so it's just double of the value which we have here. And I want to reverse a lens here, so you can see we add some really nice chromatic aberrations there. So let's crank up these so you can see that. So this is too much, basically just going for 8, and you can see there's a subtle chromatic aberration right there. And so what I'm going to do, add another adjustment layer, and this is going to call it burnout, and probably just go around 14 here, and then add burnout fill, just so I can actually just fade these out here. Easy ease the keyframes and probably just random seeds here, just kind of fade out. So let's just trim all of these right here. So probably make sure the audios are the ended here, and then just trim these. So nicely burn out, giving us a nice fade out to the whole thing. So, and now I'm going to pre-compose all of these, and we're going to rename these chromatic aberration as well. So we just want to have another duplicates for these. So red, blue, and green. So applying shift channels here, and we want first one to be red and this one green and blue, and then just use screen or lighten here. So basically I'm just going to shift these layers just probably a frame or two, the top ones here. So it's just going to add another chromatic aberration on top of the other ones. So this is for the whole thing here. And let's just recompose these one more time, just call it shift channels here. And so now let's just add here a new adjustment layer, and let's rename these color correction, and I'm going to add pen sharp mask, add in noise, probably just 5 on these, and add in curves here just to add a nice contrast to these. and then add a new adjustment layer, and let's rename these glow and apply a glow here. So 0.5 on intensity and then 50 probably on the radius and just 50 on the threshold. Duplicating that, let's crank up these right here. So probably half of the threshold here. Just adding a nice one here. I could put that to pan or screen, probably lower here, opacity to 50. Looking pretty cool. So let's preview and see how this looks like. So that's it guys, hope you find this tutorial very useful for you as always, and if you have any questions just comment and I will do my best to be responsive, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more tutorials coming soon, and thank you for watching.